Hey guys, I'm Tyler and today we are going to do a shop tour. It's been almost exactly a year since I did my first shop tour, so today is going to be the 2017 DIYTyler Shop Tour A. Little hint right there. So as many of you know, my shop is in the basement. This is the door to the upstairs right there. And yes, I have no trouble getting full 4x8 sheets of plywood down here. I've actually gotten full 12-foot lengths of lumber. As you can see right over there, when I built that wall, I stepped it back a little bit from the bottom of the staircase, which allows me a better turning radius, so I don't have any trouble getting those full sheets and lengths of plywood down the stairs and into the shop. Now I'm going to turn you around here, and the newest addition to the shop is the miter saw station. Such an awesome thing to have in the shop. I like to think of it more as a bunch of drawers with a little miter saw on top of it. So like I said in the last shop tour, I put a lot of thought into where the tools are laid out in the shop. And the reason for that being is I wanted a natural workflow for the tools I use. I ran into a little bit of an issue with this shop because there's a post right in the middle of the shop, which makes it so I need to have the table saw a certain direction only. Otherwise, everything would flow around this way. So right now, things come into the chop saw where I cut them down, and then I will usually go over to the table saw where I can break it down into smaller pieces, or to the bandsaw, which is over here now, to make it a little bit thinner so that I can then hit the jointer, which is right over here, and the planer, which is right behind it. So everything kind of flows around in a big circle, sort of. It doesn't always work out that way, and you don't always need to hit every tool in the shop either. So like I said, the miter saw station is obviously the biggest new addition to the shop. I have a wing over on the end which folds out, so I have a full 8 foot of cutting length to the left of the saw blade. And all of these drawers are 22 inches deep and they are 14 inches deep on the top. I think in total I got 24 drawers, and every one of them is filled with goodness right now. I got a little bit of room and I can obviously organize it a little bit better to maximize my space. There are plans available for this if you guys would like to make your own for a standard miter saw. Just a few of the drawers that I have in here are my camera gear is in here in Kaizen foam, so when I'm not using it, it comes back in here. And I have not swept this out since I put this thing together. I've had this for several months now and there's no dust in here. So the seal of the drawer keeps the dust out of the camera gear, which is awesome. And this one's not. I was gonna say this is one of my empty drawers. Not so much. This is kind of my junk drawer. I got some electronic sensors and a bunch of threaded rod, nuts and bolts, odds and ends that I was able to pick up at different tag sales. Some tripods in the top there. And in some of the other drawers over here, I got my gloves for finishing and some dust masks. I got spray paint in the bottom shelf right over there. I got some hand tools over here, and I got my wood glues in the top corner there. And then I have some empty cubbies that I can put other stuff in as time goes on. Turning towards the middle of the shop is the heart of the shop. I got the outfeed table, which is where almost all of my work gets done. This is an excellent workstation slash outfeed table. I absolutely love this thing. Super, super solid. Obviously, like I said, use it every day, and there's nothing like that good feeling when you push a full sheet of plywood off the table saw and it's fully supported. Would I build this again? Absolutely. Which actually brings me to a point. Most of these projects that I have around here I built, so I'll have a link in the description to those videos if you would like to go check them out. In the order that I mentioned them will be the order that they are in the description. So I got a quick clamp vise on here. I actually use this thing quite a bit. I didn't think I would use it as much as I do, and it works great. Super, super handy to have in the shop. I want to just swing around to the other side of the workbench. A lot of people ask me if I actually use the cubbies that are underneath here. Absolutely. I got some toggle clamps in here all the time, easy to access. I got my cordless nailer, which I grab all the time, and it's super awesome to have right here. I change the battery on that thing like once every 2 months, so I just stick it right in there, good to go. And then I got a brush to quickly sweep things up on the other side. Then, as a lot of you probably know, this is where my kind of common hand tools go, again in Kaizen foam, so I can literally reach down here without taking my eyes off of what I'm doing and grab the tool that I want. I've actually only added a couple things into here since I cut the original slots. There's a couple things that I've just thrown in on top that I need to cut slots for, but I'm really pleased with the layout that I came up with originally. And that just goes back to me thinking about it a long time before I really get around to it. And then a deep drawer in the bottom, I have my most commonly accessed tools. I actually keep mostly cordless tools in here, and the corded tools have gone into a deep drawer in the miter saw station because I don't use them nearly as much. It's just super easy to grab a battery, plug it in, and go to town. And the lithium ion batteries nowadays are so good you can't even tell the difference between the corded and cordless versions, so you might as well get rid of the cord. You would think in a shop it wouldn't be that big of an issue, but it's just one of those minor annoyances that it's just super nice to get rid of. So now you guys are back in front. The miter saw station's to your right there, so you can kind of orient yourself. And this is all my screws and fasteners. I got my Torx head screws, I got decking screws, random nuts and bolts over here, and I got pocket hole screws, some bolts that I use commonly, and a bunch of different length wood screws in the top. Easy to access. These are removable little cubbies so that I can stick them down on the workbench when I'm working on it. This is one of those $19 deals from Harbor Freight. Good little deal, not the sturdiest thing in the world, but if you bolt it up to a piece of wood pretty well, works out well. I also got some dowels and dominoes and pocket hole plugs, and I got some drywall anchors in here too, which are just common things you need when you own a home. Also, I got my tapes up here, all of my duct tape, painter's tape, double-sided tape that's commonly used, and then any access tape is in the drawers in the miter saw station. So now moving down, I got my floor standing drill press. A drill press is not something you use very often in the shop, but when you do, it is so awesome to have one, and especially one with a little bit of power. Not totally sold on the need for a floor standing versus a cabinet top drill press, but I got this one for a super good deal on Craigslist, and I love having it in the shop, and I got the room right now, so it's not really a big issue. And I just want to mention, I got this on Craigslist, right? All of the bigger tools that you see in the shop, I got on Craigslist, and I got all of these big tools for $500 by wheeling and dealing other tools that I had previously bought on Craigslist, selling them and buying a new upgraded tool. New to me. Yes, the tools would cost a lot of money if you got it in a big chunk, but I didn't spend $100,000 on tools like some of you guys call me out on. So you got to be patient, and you can find the deal when it's out there, at least here in Southeast Michigan. Backing up into the corner a little bit, drill press is right here, so you can follow the flow of where we're going, is my drill charger drill bit storage station thingy. Plans available for that if you want to build one on your own. So I got battery charging over here. I got my KISS drill bit system from FastCap, which is super awesome. The drill bits are color coded on the base, so you know right where you got it out from and right where to put it back super fast. Spade bits, Forstner bits, and then some more storage inside. And these are also on French cleats and removable, so you can adjust them. I have not gotten around to what a lot of you viewers have suggested, to put these on an angle. I could get a lot more drill bits in there if I did that, so one of these days I'll get around to that. Got my batteries, and then I got all of my cordless guns here, which slide right in and hang there, and some more storage in a drawer here where I got some Vicks bits, grinding wheels, and brush off wheels. I also got another 12-volt rigid charger on the side here. Backing up a little bit, we got my 14-inch bandsaw with custom table and dust collection, and it's also on a custom base that I built. Again, videos in the description below. Yes, I don't have a lot of outfeed space, but I use the bandsaw for a lot of little cuts, like random, really quick, and I thought it would be better to have this right by my working area instead of over somewhere where I had a little bit more outfeed space. So if I need more outfeed space, I can simply roll this away from the wall. It's got a long cord, and make my long outfeed cuts in this open area right here. Now backing up a little bit, this all looks a little different than it did last year. I got my modular nail gun storage, which hold my nail guns and all the nails in nice organized little drawers. And right below that, I got my Rockler T-Track table, which actually has come in super handy. I really like how you can clamp anything anywhere on here. And I did get rid of a big workbench that was back here that I didn't like at all. Used to span the whole length of the back wall of the shop. I've been slowly getting rid of it as I needed the space and was able to build projects to house some of those tools and or material. So that whole thing is gone now. I lost a place back here to like just put plans down and stuff like that behind my usual workbench. So this comes in super handy for that as well, and for its use as a work surface. Right next to the nail gun storage, I got my Kreg jig mounted on a board so that I can quickly take the whole entire thing off and clamp it down to the workbench and drill my pocket holes, which it seems like there's always room for pocket holes in a project. And turning the corner a little bit, we got my collection of clamps, which I still don't have enough of, but we're getting there. I got all my spring clamps right over here and C-clamps, bunch of quick clamps, and then just shorter to long clamps, and then the heavy duty Bezi clamps in the back, and a couple of Rockler aluminum bar clamps right here. And right next to that, I got my FastCap safe cut rulers. Super handy to have right here, so I have them right next to the workbench. whether it's to lay out a cut or use them as a track to cut something. And then moving down just a little bit, we have my double flip top workstation, which I still only have one tool on. I think a year ago, I only had one tool on it. Just haven't found a need to purchase the other tools that I would like to put on there yet. I do use the open area quite a bit just to lay stuff down when I'm cutting on the table saw. And when I grab my sharpening board, which is in the bottom drawer here, I do that work right up on here. So it's actually kind of handy. But I do want to get a disc sander and like a vertical strip sander to go on here at some point in time. Again, there just hasn't been a project that I've needed those tools, so I haven't gotten them yet. But I got my rigid oscillating spindle sander, which I use all the time. It's almost always in belt mode. And like I said, in the bottom over here, I got the different spindles for the oscillating spindle sander and my sand eraser. I don't know exactly what you call that. Which this actually works super good on the little 5-inch disc sandpaper that you use for your orbital sander. When you think your sandpaper might be no good anymore, give it a little erase with this guy and you'll be surprised at how good it actually works. And then over here I have my Doolin style sharpening jig, which is for a jointer and a planer. And then it's got the different grits of sandpaper on this piece of MDF with a piece of glass laminated on top of it. The point of the glass is to get it as flat as you possibly can to sharpen your jointer and planer blades. And then right next to my double flip top workstation, I got my portable pop-up spray booth. This has an enclosed fan, filter, and the outside section here pops up. You turn your fan on to capture all of your overspray so you don't get the quick little spray paint jobs on your cars or anything like that. The filter slides out and is replaceable when that's not in use. Link to the video for that build in the description below. And now we're over into the most opposite corner from the door of the shop, and this is my highly modified Harbor Freight dust collector. This is modified into a 2-stage with a Super Dust Deputy Cyclone and a wind filter. I've done a bunch of different videos on the dust collection system in my shop where I talk about the build of this dust collector and when I talk about the actual dust collection piping and my thoughts behind it. Link in the description for those videos as well. Now, turning the corner from where we were just looking, dust collectors over there, we have my rigid 13-inch planer, and below that I have my box joint jig, which was built in the John High style. Super awesome tool. I had someone ask me about that the other day if I still use it. Absolutely, just not all that much. So, like I said, 13-inch rigid planer, which I don't have a full 8 feet of in-feed, out-feed, but I can roll it onto kind of like a kitty corner in the shop and get all the space that I need for that. This is a great tool, very little snipe. Again, I got this on Craigslist for a great deal in a combo deal with the table saw. Great tool. And right above here, I got my cubby storage. This is one of the first projects that I did, and I still use it every day, I guess you could even say. So I got a bunch of electrical stuff. I got PVC work, I got caulk, I got a bunch of drawer handles ready to go, and some more electrical hinges, odds and ends, and stuff like that that just need a place to go. This is a great place for it. Back in the dark dungy corner of my shop, we have the newest addition, which is a Rockler router table. This is a Rockler router table and a Rockler branded lift. The lift is actually super awesome. Was a little skeptical, I don't know why, about it in the beginning. Super cool. Got to work on the dust collection for everything a little bit, but it's super handy to have a full-size router table now versus just a little portable one that I would pick up from under the workbench and then put on top of it to use the router. I'm just gonna back you guys up and talk about this whole wall in one shot. So we just talked about the router table there. Up here we got a couple different table saw sleds. I got a miter sled, I got a quick spline jig, and then I have a Rockler table saw sled that has adjustable angle on it. That actually works really well, so I may get rid of these in time as I have attachments that can go on that. And then down here I got my shop vac with the mini CV06 Cyclone. I really want to come up with something cool that is a vertically compact shop vac Cyclone combo system, but it just hasn't hit me yet. Anybody got ideas? Hit me up in the comments down below. Back here as well, I got a MDF door board or track for my circular saw, which I use all the time with my rigid cordless circular saw. Such a great combo. Then right over here, I have a 6-inch jointer, another great Craigslist find. Great tool, in good shape. Really didn't have to do anything with it when I got it. I've sharpened the blades one time with my little jig that I made since I've gotten the thing. Then back and way into the corner there, we have the heart of every shop, which is the table saw. This is a Delta 10-inch contractor table saw. Great tool. The only complaint I have with it is the trunnion alignment. It really seems to be a major problem with a lot of contractor table saws. It's just the mechanics of how those trunnions work and how they're driven from the front end only. Just not super sturdy. Hopefully I'll be able to upgrade this tool in the not too distant future to a cabinet saw, a little more powerful and just a better design overall. And below the table saw wing, I have my drawer with my push sticks, push blocks, and then some clamps for the table saw jigs and whatnot. Right below that, I got a drawer for my inserts and circular blades, whether they are for the miter saw, the small miter saw, or the table saw itself. And then right below that, I have a bin for scraps, which is just little cutoffs from the table saw. And on the other side of the table saw, I have a quick little kind of sacrificial sled that I use from time to time when I need a super weird angle. I just screw it down right on top of here and have a little toggle clamp. Super handy to have. And then a small compressor when I need to get into tight areas with the nail gun and or use my pin nailer. There isn't a cordless pin nailer yet. Don't really like to run this because it's super loud. And then a perpetual little pot of water down here for those glue ups. Always got to have a wet rag before you start a glue up. It's a rule in my shop because otherwise you're scrambling all over to get something to clean up that excess glue. I do just want to show one quick thing. Above the workstation, I have one of those $10 rolls of brown paper that you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot. When I need to cover the workbench doing a big glue up or painting, epoxy, something like that, I just roll out a piece, cut it, and lay it down. I would prefer to have it underneath the workbench so I could roll that back up if it's not covered in glue and reuse it so I don't waste so much paper. But I simply don't have the space to do it with this setup. That might change in the future. And then coming around the corner to the front of the shop, we have my horizontal storage and then my sheet goods storage below this. I can put a full 4x8 sheet of plywood up underneath there and it doesn't protrude into the shop space at all. And then here's for my 2x4s and miscellaneous lumber. On the other side of the basement, I got some of my other like walnut, ash, some pieces of cherry, and random stuff for some nicer projects. Sits over there because I don't access it very often. When I do, I can bring the one board over here and do the work that I need to. I guess this solution is okay. I don't know if anyone's ever really happy with their lumber storage solution because it's just not good enough, but I haven't seen or come up with anything that's better than what I have. I guess I just always got to be okay with it being just a mess. And then against the front wall here, we have my folding work table with the CNC on top of it. The CNC is cool to have. I don't use it as much as I guess I thought I might. When I come down here, I don't really want to be spending the time to program the CNC, and the learning curve to get out of your head onto paper into something that this thing can understand is pretty frustrating, and I don't really want to spend the time doing that when I would rather be working in the shop. So this thing might not be in my shop for all that much longer, but then at the same time, there are those times where it's super handy to have a tool like this, like when I built this super cool cordless portable mortiser. This has a cordless rigid router in it, and it oscillates manually so that you can cut floating mortise and tenon without buying a super expensive tool from you know who. This works pretty well. It's a homemade tool. You got to go pretty slow, and I do have some improvements that I would like to add on to this at some point. We'll see if I ever get there, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the shop and the CNC. So the CNC is awesome for things like that. The learning curve is a little bit steep, and if you don't have a folding table, it takes up a lot of room to have something like this. And on the underside of the CNC, when it's folded up, you got all the stickers from the crazy sticker swap action that happened, and these stickers are from all over the world, so that's pretty cool. And the last and one of my favorite tools is this thing. See if we can get some focus. So this is just a little carry case that I got on Amazon, and I have all these different handy little tools in here that I used to just stuff in my pockets and carry around. And I thought, hey, I need something better than this that I can quickly just clip on my belt, and it has all of the common things that I use so often in the shop. So little things like a flat and Phillips head screwdriver with different handles so you can reach down and grab them without even taking your eyes off of what you're working on saves you so much time in the shop, and you often don't even think about little things like that. Got a little square Leatherman, got a little ice pick in here, which is super handy. And then I often don't even take my tape measure off of here. I just stretch it out, measure what I need, and let it go. Saves you a little bit of time. My hat and pencil, which I put in the back of my hat, is one of the first things I put in when I come down here. I never wear a baseball cap. The pencil holder is one reason that I do, and then this is kind of just turned into my brand image. Safety glasses go up on there as well. And then these are the earplugs that I use. I got them off Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. Oh, I'll leave a link to a bunch of the tools that I use in the description below if you're interested. Those are affiliate links. If you buy using that, or even if you don't, it helps support the show. Thank you very much. So these are awesome. I used to do the ones with the little string. The earmuffs that go over your head I found squeeze too much and give me a headache over long periods of time. So these are great. I can slip them up real quick, do my thing. I can take one off if I need to talk to someone real quick, and then they just come on and off super easy, and they're quite comfortable to wear even for long periods of time. I hope you guys enjoyed that shop tour. I think it's gonna end up being like 25 minutes long or something crazy like that. It's crazy how time flies when you're having a good time. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions about this or any of the other videos, hit me up in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button right over there so you never miss when I upload any new videos. I'm DIY Tyler. You guys have a good one.